The University of Saskatchewan has signed an historic agreement that will allow Inuit to decide who can identify as Inuit. Officially, the Memorandum of Understanding is between the school and a group that represents 70,000 Inuit in Canada. It's aimed at preventing people from falsely claiming that they are Inuit to gain an advantage in society. It comes a day after a judge in Nunavut sentenced a woman to 3 years in prison for identity fraud that saw her twin daughters profit off special scholarships and business opportunities. Well, my next guest is petitioning the House of Commons for action on this type of fraud. Joanne Green is a member of the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan First Nation and joins us tonight from Bancroft, Ontario. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
The University of Saskatchewan has agreed to develop a process to verify the identities of Inuit applicants. Do you think this is the right way for organizations to move in this direction, what the university is doing here?
Yes, I do believe it is a good direction, and it has to be done because this is the start of a process to make as I say, pretend Indians to stop the fraud from going on. I think it's a good move. When there's a committee of the university and Inuit people together sitting down and to verify the process and the protocol to see who is Indigenous or not, Inuit too.
How pervasive do you think this problem is?
There's this one judge in BC, and he's in the court system. He said it's a tsunami now, and I agree with that. It is huge. The problem of non-Indigenous people pretending to be Indigenous to profit from that. It could be resources, jobs, employment, funding, arts, music. The list goes on.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the story about Buffy St. Marie, that drew a lot of attention from the general public to this issue. But as you say, you know, it has been an issue for some time. You are petitioning the House of Commons to act on and prevent Indigenous identity fraud, including by implementing verification protocols. What would those protocols look like?
So the protocols would be, first of all, when it goes to the House of Commons, there's a first reading. And what will happen is that there will be consultation between First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people to ensure that the wording is properly and the protocols and the enactment of the law is going smoothly. And it's, you know, it's a balancing act to get this in the process of enacting a law.
Indigenous. No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue.
No, go.
I was going to say, you know, Indigenous people have long relied on a system of self-identification. Why do you think it is necessary to change this now?
The self-identification, it has to be changed. From my experience and from what I know, self-identification is fine, but anyone can self-identify. But we need that authentic, we need the proof or the facts that that people are Indigenous from a community, from the history of where their ancestors came from. It just can't be a checkbox anymore. And it just can't be a piece of paper from someone that they knew that gave them authentication that they're Indigenous without the proof of the history and the documents.
As a final question, I wonder if you could, you know, lay out, if you can, some of the harms of Indigenous identity fraud on Indigenous peoples and communities across this country.
Oh, the harms are massive, but you know, take the financial, the money part out of it. There's the harm of our spiritual side, our history being changed, our lineage names being altered. And in fact, it's like all we want is the truth, and now it's becoming the opposite. We are being put down on the sidelines now, like we shouldn't exist, and this has happened 150 years ago. where Indians were put down on the side and we didn't have a voice. And so it is somewhat degrading and very hurtful that our voices are not being heard. Yeah, it's very detrimental to our emotional state. Our ancestors fought for us for a long time, and we want to keep that going. We just want to keep the Indigenous heritage and culture and traditions as our own, and not someone else's stories coming through to their perspective.
Well, we appreciate you bringing your voice to this conversation on Canada Tonight.
Thank you.
Joanne Green is petitioning for legislation on Indigenous identity fraud. She spoke to us tonight from Bancroft, Ontario.